Okay, I just want you to be aware that I have provided you a few different linked papers for samples. This particular paper is the sample MLA2, I think it's what it's called. And I'll be honest, I don't really remember where I got this paper, but it is for educational purposes. It is to teach writing. And so you have this full paper here, a sample of it. Okay, so you have that linked, but I also wanted to point out that you have an annotated version that is linked as well, and that's the one I'm going to be covering in this particular video, because I want to walk you through just some of the specifics of this paper that you should be using as you write as well. So you'll have this actual paper as well, so that you can anytime without watching the video access some of this information. Okay, so the first thing here, and you'll see when you log in that you might have to click to read it all, and I don't know if I'll click all of these or not. Anyway, I guess I can. So note here, your formatting is what I start with, that we have the same formatting that we've always had. We have Times New Roman, 12-point font, in MLA formatting. This goes on the first page only. This particular student information goes on the first page only. It is double spaced. It's Times New Roman. No extra spaces between paragraphs of the same style. So don't forget that we set this stuff up in here, right? And also don't forget your page numbers, and I would prefer those to be in Times New Roman 12-point font as well. Okay, you will center the title right after you get done making the student information and the date. If it is a little long, go ahead and make it 2 lines. You want it to be nice and in the center. Okay, and so this paper is by Erin Blaine, and so I'm going to refer to her as I explain some of these things. And so please note what she does in the very beginning of this paper. I'm going to read quite a bit of this paper, but not the entire thing. So she first says, her title is, Should data posted on social networking sites be fair game for employers? And so then she sets this up in context. She says the popularity of social networking sites such as Facebook and Twitter has increased dramatically over the last several years, especially among college students and young professionals. So she jumps right in. Now, is this the most remarkable way to start a paper? Well, probably not. But it does the job. It sets it up in context. We can quickly, as the reader, see what this paper is going to concern. And then she quickly connects, her initial discussion here. I wish I could get that up there. Okay. The networking opportunities to the topic at hand. And we'll just go ahead and look at this whole first paragraph. She says, these sites provide valuable opportunities for networking and for connecting socially. At the same time, however, potential employers, human resource professionals, and even college admissions officers routinely use these sites to evaluate applicants. Because it is so easy to access social networking sites and because they provide valuable information, this trend is certain to continue. So she starts getting our attention with the idea of Facebook and Twitter, and she mentions college students and young professionals. She quickly gets into networking, and then she's getting more into her actual topic at hand. Here she's going to establish the problem. Some people are concerned about this development, arguing that social networking sites should be off limits to potential employers because they do not have the context they need to evaluate information. And then look at her thesis statement, the last sentence of the paragraph. As long as applicants have freely posted information in a public forum, however, there is no reason for an employer not to consult this information during the hiring process. So here she shows her clear her topic and her opinion about the topic. Okay, I want you to pay attention in this whole paper to the topic sentences. A topic sentence should be in the student's words, and it should give the reader an indication of what the paragraph is going to be about. So here we have the number of employers and universities using social networking sites to evaluate candidates is growing every year. That tells the reader right there that this paragraph is going to concern both employers and universities, and it's going to concern numbers. And so I should expect as the reader to find many numbers in this paragraph. And sure enough, Erin does that. She provides lots. Here she's giving some information about college admissions. Note how she incorporates this source. She has this part. She weaves this quoted material here into her sentence. She's paraphrasing leading up to that. She quotes this line, and then she cites the source here, so, right there. Okay. This tells me that there's not a named author, and so instead she's using a shortened version of the article title for citation in parentheses. She continues her discussion right here of numbers and how they play out in the business world, and she has yet a second source here. And then please note in this sentence here, she gives acknowledgement to the actual source, New York Times, to show some credibility. She further presents more numbers, and then she ends with the citation of the author. So I can easily assume that when I go down to the works cited page, I can look for P and find Preston and note that this particular article came from the New York Times. So this entire paragraph really just dealt with some information. It's almost like background information because she's pointing out with numbers that this is a concern now. Moving on to this next paragraph. Not everyone is happy with this practice, though, and some have strong objections. That is her new topic sentence, and she is setting up the opposing argument, okay? And she presents opposition in this entire paragraph. Please pay attention to the fact that when she is quoting a quote, there is special way to cite that, and you can find that on page 390 and 391 in your textbook. This entire paragraph presents opposition and thoroughly cites the sources that she is getting her information from. And then here she responds, okay? Given the realities of the digital age, however, admissions committees and job recruiters are acting reasonably when they access social networking sites. Pay attention to what I say here. Here, Erin has a topic sentence that indicates her feelings about this topic. This entire paragraph is based on her personal ideas and beliefs. This is the only paragraph that does not include cited sources. However, this paragraph is a way of introducing the rest of the paper. This is a research-based evidence presented in the remainder of the paper to support everything she says here. There is, probably should be what that says, but anyway, I'm going to fix that real quick before I forget. Okay, so this is basically just her general ideas and general summary, okay, of this issue, and now she's going to come back with source information to support each point she makes. Part of the problem is that the internet has fundamentally altered our notions of private and public in ways that we are only just beginning to understand. So that tells the reader that this paragraph deals with privacy issues. Okay, look at the structure of this particular sentence here. She is mentioning Shelley Fralick for the first time, so she's mentioning the author's full name the first time she uses it. She has chosen to go ahead and mention the title of the article that she is referencing. That is because the title of this article feeds right into this paragraph and in the point she's making in this paragraph. She paraphrases for a little bit, and then she direct quotes a phrase from Fralick. Then she gives us her page number. As Shelley Fralick observed, and don't fall for the myths about online privacy, Facebook's privacy options do not really protect its users' privacy, and thinking they do is, quote, is beyond absurd. So pay attention to the structure of this sentence. You do not need to double cite. So she has presented the author here, so she does not have to present the author again in parentheses. If you go ahead and present the author in the sentence, then the only thing that goes in parentheses would be page numbers. Also notice that she's using an active and present tense verb right after Shelley Fralick's name. You can find information on that on page 377. You can find some example verbs and some signal phrases. So the rest of this paragraph also deals with the privacy issue, and she does this again. She gives credibility to the New York Times columnist Thomas Friedman. She names him full name first, and then when she comes back and refers to him again, it is last name. Okay. Rather than relying on outdated notions of privacy, students and job seekers should accept these new conditions and take steps to protect themselves. So here, with this topic sentence, we can expect this paragraph to be about protecting oneself. The most important way for people to protect themselves against the possible misuse of personal information is for them to take responsibility for the information they post online. So here we should expect to see about the different types of information that is being posted and the fact that this is up to the person posting. All right. Although social networking sites have disadvantages, they also have advantages. Here, Erin indicates that the idea of employers and recruiters looking online isn't all bad. She acknowledges the disadvantages, but also indicates advantages. The reader can expect to see some advantages now. So she is giving, she's transitioning. She's transitioning from all of the bad or disadvantages that have been presented to now saying, guess what? There are some advantages in this conversation. Okay, look here. She decides to quote 4 more lines from one of her articles. And when you do that, you have to follow special rules that are listed on page 376. 4 or more lines from your text are to be set off at 0.5 inch left margin. They do not have quotation marks, and the citation actually comes outside of the period. Don't ask me why there has to be special rules for things like this. I don't understand either, but these are the rules and we're going to follow them. So this is an actual quote. A recent article reports the following. However, 1/3 of employers who research candidates on social networking sites say they found content that made them more likely to hire a candidate. What's more, nearly a quarter found content that directly led to them hiring the candidate, up from 19% last year. She pulled this exactly as it was from the article. And then note that it comes from the number of employers article. She puts the shortened version of that title right here. Okay, and one more important thing about this type of quoting. First of all, in your paper, I do not want to see more than 2 of these. You cannot fill up your paper with someone else's words. So no more than 2. And if you use long quotes like these, you must come back in your own words and wrap that paragraph up. Okay, you cannot just leave it hanging with the quote. All right, finally you have the conclusion here. Erin wraps up her paper with paraphrasing and a quote that sums up her whole argument. She does not attempt to restate all of her points. Do not restate your points. No one needs to see that. Instead, wrap up the conversation and leave your audience something to think about. The very last page of your document will be your works cited. They should be in alphabetical order and cited according to MLA 8th edition. Okay, so please pay attention to the little nuances of this particular paper. Think very seriously about sources, integrating sources into your work, using more than one source per paragraph, and making sure that you have good topic sentences and tight and focused paragraphs that are dealing with one general idea within each paragraph. Thanks a lot. I hope this helps.